Hey guys, it's Robbie here, and in this video I'm going to be going over 2 common mistakes that most people make when it comes to those cleans. More specifically, both cleans, but also the power clean and the squat clean. Alright, so when it comes to doing your cleans, or when it comes to doing your snatch, alright, they're very similar movements. The only difference is that grip. Okay, obviously the snatch, you're going up and overhead in one movement. However, on the clean and the snatch, anything that's going on in that lower body, as well as your hips, is going to be virtually the same. Okay. Now, what I want you to remember, and one takeaway from this whole video here, is I want you to think about closed, open, and closed. All right. And I'm referring to the hips when I say that. So, when I set up on my clean or when I set up on my snatch, let's just go over the clean today. All right. I want to think about when I first start, my hips are going to be closed. Okay. When I go to extend up into that full extension for that clean, give myself a chance to get underneath the bar. All right, I'm in an open position from the hip, okay? And then I have to reclose my hip, all right, in order to have a chance, all right, for that clean, all right, receiving that bar in that front rack position with my shoulders, okay? I want to be closing my hip, okay? It's all about extending up, okay, and closing as violently and as quickly as I can, which allows me to send that weight back onto my heels, and that's going to allow me to give me a greater chance of hitting that lift, all right? So, let me show you what I mean by that, okay? So, when we go into that setup for the clean, the first thing is, of course, you want to have it in line with your laces, okay? The bottom of your laces of your shoe, okay? If you're too close, all right, you're going to see that bar path is going to be ruined a little bit, okay? So we want to make sure we're not too close to that bar, all right? So when I say closed, okay, we're now in a closed position here, as you can see, all right? From here, I'm going to side profile. I'm in a closed position with my hip, okay? And being in a closed position, what that does, and I take my hip out of it for a little bit, but that loads up the biggest movers in my body, okay, your glutes and your hamstrings, all right? Those are the powerful muscles that you're going to use to get that bar up, right? So, you want to be nice and close. Okay, start. All right, I want to make sure on my next position, when I bring that bar up into that mid-shin level, or excuse me, mid-thigh, all right, I want to make sure that my hips are still a little bit closed, okay? Now, you know when I go up into either power clean or a squat clean, I'm going to be coming into an open hip. So I extend up, open hip like so, okay? And then I got to reclose into that receiving position, whether it be that power clean, okay, or it's the squat clean. All right, so those are 2 options and 2 ways when it comes to opening and closing those hips, okay? A lot of times what happens with people is when they're first learning, or they've been doing it for a while, is you'll see a lack of opening of the hip. Okay, so a lot of times when people go to do their power clean or their squat clean, they come up here, they hit. All right, and you'll notice when I do that, my hip is not fully extended. All right, that's no good, right? What happens there is now, more often than not, you're going to miss that lift forward, okay, because you didn't get a chance to pull back on that bar and bring it back into you, okay, and you're going to miss the lift if you do that, all right? Now, when it comes to receiving the bar, this is one of the biggest mistakes that people make, and I'll show you right here what it looks like. Now watch me and see if you notice it. All right, you guys notice that? I'll do it one more time. All right, you guys see that? So, what I'm doing wrong, all right, is in that example there, when I catch it, I'm catching it with my hip still open, all right? That's one of the biggest mistakes and one of the most common mistakes I see people make on their Olympic lifting. It's catching that bar with an open hip, okay? Especially when you're first learning. What happens is that open hip, now, all right, my weight's forward, okay, now it's gonna put me on my quads, it's gonna put me on my toes, I'm off balance, no good, right? Instead, when you receive that bar, you want to think about pushing those hips back, all right? Holding your ground with your feet, pushing those hips back, all right? And then you're gonna receive that bar in a better position for that power clean, all right, or on that squat clean, okay? So, the most important thing I tell my athletes, and I'll tell you today, is when you're doing your cleans, all right, whether it be power cleans, squat cleans, heck, even your snatches, all right, the most important thing to think about with your hips, all right, start with them closed, load up those hamstrings and glutes, open them up on that full extension, pulling that bar back into you, and then reclosing them to meet that bar in that good receiving position of the clean or the snatch, okay? So that's my tip for today, guys. Check it out. Go ahead and do it at the gym. Practice it. If you have any questions, get back to me, and we'll see you later. Take care, guys.